fit in. Look who's in the reject bin. It's the Raggy Dolls.
Raggy Dolls.
Raggy Dolls.
Raggy Dolls.
Dolls like you and me. Raggy Dolls.
Raggy Dolls.
Raggy Dolls.
Raggy Dolls.
Made him perfectly. So if you got a bump on your nose or lumps on your toes, do not despair. Be like the Raggy Dolls and say I just don't care. 'Cause Raggy Dolls,
Raggy Dolls.
Raggy Dolls,
Raggy
are
Dolls.
happy just to be Raggy Dolls, Raggy Dolls, dolls like you and me.
It was late evening, and the factory was still and quiet. As still and quiet as a mouse, you could say. But not this mouse.
Now look, there's no need for all this. I've told you I wasn't going to the canteen. Honest, I wasn't. I was just taking a shortcut, that's all.
Mr. Marmalade, the factory cat, had caught a mouse, but never in his vast experience had he caught a mouse as talkative as this one.
I mean, what's wrong with taking a shortcut? Don't you ever take shortcuts? What harm can they do, eh? Answer me that. OK, I was somewhere I shouldn't be and you caught me, fair enough. But really, just because you're bigger than me doesn't mean you're right and I'm wrong, does it?
Mr. Marmalade lowered the mouse to the floor and firmly placed a paw on his tail. "Surely you don't expect me to fall for that, old one, do you?" said the big ginger cat. "Trying to get me to talk and open my mouth so that you can run away? Really?"
Oh, as if I would,
protested the mouse, not very convincingly.
How could you think such a thing?
"Come along," said Mr. Marmalade a little wearily. "I'm throwing you out." So saying, he picked up the mouse by the scruff of the neck and carried him towards the door.
Oh, charming, said the mouse. That's nice, that is. Just throw me out then, you big bully.
But just as they reached the reject bin, up popped all the Raggy Dolls.
Hello, Mr. Marmalade,
said Dotty eagerly.
Surprise,
sang Lucy. My goodness, exclaimed the cat, dropping the mouse and letting him run away. The Raggy Dolls watched as the mouse scampered off.
Don't worry, I'll see myself out, he called.
Sorry, said Back to Front. We didn't mean to make you lose your mouse. No matter, said Mr. Marmalade. I'll soon catch him again. In fact, he's quite an amusing character. His name is Reg. But where have you been? I thought you'd gone to live in the cottage. The big ginger cat listened as the Raggy Dolls told him all about their adventures on honeymoon with Mr. and Mrs. Grimes, and how pleased they were to be back in the reject bin. Yes, said Sadsack. Home, sweet home. Splendid, splendid, said Mr. Marmalade. I must say it has been very quiet around here without you.
And quiet is just what we need, laughed Totty. Tomorrow we're going on a nice, gentle stroll to all our favourite places. Yes, said Princess, we've all had enough excitement to last us a lifetime.
The next day was bright and sunny, and the Raggy Dolls were happy as larks as they lay on their backs in the big field, looking up at the sky, just happy to be home.
Isn't it wonderful? Sighed Princess. Everything's back to normal.
No, it isn't, said Sadsack. Something's sniffing me.
The Raggy Dolls sat up and could not believe their eyes.
It's a baby elephant, said Princess.
Incroyable, said Claude. Where did he spring from? Said Back to Front.
Just get him off me,
moaned Sadsack. Dotty stood up.
Hello,
she said gently.
What's your name?
I don't know, said the little elephant.
Are you lost?
Said Princess. I don't know, came the reply.
Perhaps he's lost his memory,
suggested Lucy.
Have you had a bump on the head?
I don't know, said the elephant sadly.
Do you know where you live? Said Dotty.
The little elephant thought for a moment and then shook his head.
I don't know,
he said. I do, said Back to Front. I bet he's from the safari park over at Stonybroke Hall. He must have wandered off or something.
Well, we'll just have to take him home, said Dotty. He's much too young to be out on his own.
The Raggy Dolls led the baby elephant through the dark wood and back to the safari park at Stonybroke Hall. As soon as she saw him, his mother rushed over and made a great big fuss of him.
Oh, my poor baby, I've been worried sick. Where have you been?
But the baby elephant didn't seem to recognise her.
I don't know,
was all he said.
It's tragic,
said a big old tusker.
A quirk of nature. He was born without a memory. Poor little chap. He can't even remember he's an elephant. It's very sad. We elephants are very proud of our long memories.
As the Raggy Dolls made their way home across the big field, they all felt sorry for the baby elephant.
I'm sure he has got a memory,
insisted Sad Sack.
It's just not working, that's all.
How do you mean?
Said Lucy.
Well, it could be sort of switched off or something,
he suggested. Said Back to Front. You could be right. If only we could find a way to switch it on.
Maybe some kind of shock would do it, stammered Hi-Fi. Like a little scare or something.
Of course, said Dotty. And what are elephants most afraid of?
Now let's get this straight, said Reg the Mouse, soon after Mr. Marmalade had caught him again. You want me, a little mouse, to go up to this great big elephant and frighten him?
He's only a baby, said Lucy.
You've got to be kidding, said the mouse. You're pulling my leg.
No, honestly, elephants are terrified of mice, reassured Princess.
Oh, come on, said Mr. Marmalade. This is your chance to do something useful for a change.
Oh, that's nice, that is, complained the mouse. I risk getting squashed flat and you call it useful. After much persuading and cajoling, the Raggy Dolls, Mr. Marmalade and the reluctant Reg stood behind a bush in the safari park, secretly observing the elephants. Now look, said Reg, having second thoughts. Can't we talk about this? I mean, does it have to be today? Let's discuss this sensibly, shall we?
Shh, said Dotty. You'll be all right. And besides, you promised.
Everyone watched and waited until at last the baby elephant started to wander in their direction.
He's coming this way, said Lucy.
Now, hissed Back to Front, giving the reluctant mouse a little push. The baby elephant stood with half-open eyes, gazing indifferently at the little mouse standing in front of him. It's not working, said Reg out of the corner of his mouth.
Say something,
hissed Dotty. Boo, said the mouse, without much conviction. The baby elephant just blinked.
Oh, well, sighed Princess, at least we tried.
Suddenly inspired, Reg stuck his thumbs in his ears, wiggled his fingers and made a truly awful face. And slowly, very slowly, the baby elephant's eyes grew wider and wider. Oh, said Reg, backing away. Nice elephant! Stay, stay! Elephant? Murmured the little creature, as if aware of his trunk for the first time. And bit by bit, with ever-increasing speed, all the generations of elephant knowledge and laws of the jungle flooded into his brain. Ah! He suddenly trumpeted. A mouse! Look out, everybody! There's a mouse! And he ran off back to his mother. All the other elephants gathered round, overjoyed that the little baby had discovered his memory. Well done, Reg, said Dotty. But there was no reply. The little mouse had fainted. Later, in the canteen, he was tucking into a big plate of bread and cheese. Imagine a great big lump like him, being scared of a little bloke like me, he said, with his mouth full.
You were very brave, said Lucy.
The hero of the day, added Princess.
Don't encourage him, said Mr. Marmalade. I seem to recall that Sad Sack was quite instrumental in the early stages of effecting the infant elephant's recovery.
Yes, said Dotty. What made you think that his memory was only switched off? Sad Sack looked blank.
I don't remember,
he said at last.
Boo, said Reg, jumping up and making his awful face again. Everyone laughed, and even Mr. Marmalade was forced to smile.
Raggy dolls, dolls like you and me. Raggy dolls, made imperfectly. So if you're not at ease with your knobbly knees and your fingers are all funds, stand on your two left feet and join our raggy doll chums. 'Cause raggy dolls are happy just to be. Raggy dolls, dolls like you and me.